Hey, everybody. Welcome in once again. Another episode of the Filthy Frank podcast. He's Kevin Finley. I'm Bruce Silverman. Thanks so much for being with us, everybody. Kevin, her name's on the book, so she's a pretty important character. So we'll start with her today. Jessy McKenzy, lesbian with a gun. Let's talk about the origins of Jessy McKenzy.
Yeah, okay. Well, Jessy, the name Jessy is actually is the name of my school teacher, my grade 1 school teacher from about, I don't know, 60 years ago. She's long since passed away. Anyways,
what do you think she would think of her name being the lead character and the name on the book?
I think she would probably roll over in her grave. I'm sure she would. But you know, Jessy McKenzy was, as I remember, she was a a good teacher. She was empathetic, but she could also dish out punishment when necessary, and I know that from firsthand experience. But she was, I don't know much about her. She lived in Ladysmith, the same hometown I was from, and she was single, as far as I know. In those days, if she wasn't, maybe she was a lesbian. I don't know if she was straight or otherwise. Those days, everybody kept in the closet, pretty much right up until about the early 80s. When that whole transition changed. So that's where the name came from, and that is the person. There's no real difference, or there's no real similarities between Jessy McKenzy, the school teacher in real life, or Jessy McKenzy, the bank burglar in my novel.
Was it just a matter? Was it just a matter that you liked the name, or
yeah.
Okay?
Yeah, I think that was the most part for that. I wanted to have, that name just sort of popped out. I think it evolved when I was, because Jessy McKenzy was a character in my first story or novel I wrote, and she was in a subplot in that story, and my mind was basically on my school life as through all, from grade 1 all the way up to grade 10, and so I was thinking about teachers, and then of course my first grade teacher, Jessy McKenzy, came to mind, and I was looking for a name for the character, and I thought, hey, that sounds pretty good. I think I'll go with that. So it sort of rolls off the tongue, Jessy.
It definitely does. It's one of those DJ names.
A DJ
right?
name.
A disc jockey would have a name like Jessy McKenzy.
Yeah, that's right. DJ McKenzy. Yeah.
So Jessy becomes the lead character in this book. She comes out of your first experience writing. Where did you bring in the whole lesbian aspect? Because obviously that plays a big part in the book, a very big part in her personality, and so much so that you put it on the title of the book.
Yeah, it wasn't originally on the first draft of that book. The subtitle wasn't there, "Lesbian with a Gun," but I had a couple of local people, who were interested in working with me doing an audiobook on this story. But what they said to me was that it was, at that time, it was too much vulgarity for them, and they wanted me
coming from a writer named Filthy Frank. Okay, yeah. I see it.
Yeah. So anyways, they nice people, great people, but so they asked me to clean it up, and I, being the rebel I am, I thought about it, because it was fairly clean then. There wasn't a lot of things going on as there is now in the story, and being the rebel I am, I turned it around, and I went even more fucking vulgar, and not vulgar for the sake of vulgarity or language or anything like that. It's more to it than that. There's way more to it. That's just the sub element, I guess. But I thought, no, this isn't me. I can't clean up what I've done. As a matter of fact, I'm going to make it a little bit more naughty, a little bit more dirty, and a little bit more interested. Although, albeit, I think they were trying to help me out because they're thinking, marketing and so on. But that's okay. It is what it is. I mean, if I end up marketing to a micro niche, that's fine. I can't change my ways. As a matter of fact, I'm sort of honing my skills as Filthy Frank, the writer, and so far it seems to be working out pretty good.
Well, I mean, if you think about it, if you really think about it, there's got to be a really large group of lesbian bank robbers that are just looking for a book that they can truly enjoy. And this
Can
one's
relate to. Yeah, so definitely a micro niche there for people who can identify with that. So, I mean, maybe that is part of my niche is the LGBTQ and whatever else fucking pronouns they have now. But that's fine. That would be one of my target markets, I suppose. Now, the interesting thing is that the lesbian aspect came into it because at the time the story takes place, which is the early 70s, and right at that point in Canada, at least, I'm not sure about the US, but homosexuality was a criminal offense right up until I think it was the late 60s or early 70s. And so because I like the shock factor, I thought that would be good to have that in there, to have the Jessy McKenzy, the heroine of the story, actually be a lesbian, to basically people who live in that time can relate to that. And
it definitely adds another wrinkle to the story and the time, because it is a timepiece, and you do bring in a lot of visuals that date back to the 70s between the cars and the clothes and just every aspect of it. You paint a picture that you are in the early 70s. With Jessy's definitely a leader. She's not a follower in any way. So when you were writing her and when you were developing her, how important was it that she was not only a rebel, a little bit like you, and vulgar, a little bit like you, that she just had this "I don't give a fuck" attitude that she just moved forward with, but yet she was also very maternal.
Yeah, she has a certain element of of empathy and maternal, and yeah, she's got a heart, and a soul, and very smart, and she, basically, and this is there's a lot of people, a lot of ladies, unfortunately, who can relate to the fact that in their younger days they had a real bad, evil father. And some women did get sexually assaulted by their own fathers, and I'm sure that still goes on today in certain dark corners of the world. But so that was part of her foundation of being who she is. That was where she started from as a child. So I put that in there in the story. You're blacked out. You're there we go. There, you're back.
I don't know what happened, but we'll edit it and figure it out.
Oh yeah.
Um,
The magic is in the editing. Yeah, for sure.
yeah, that was just very weird. Okay.
Yeah.
Anyway, let me get a time. Okay, 10 minutes. Um, let's just pick up with the father, and then we'll go
Yeah.
from there.
Okay. Yeah. So she had that's part of one of the things in building the character or introducing the character was provided a bit of a backstory gradually as I went through the book, as I went through the story. And yeah, she was raised on a farm, and by with her two brothers, Chester and Lewis, who are her part of the crime gang before they got busted. And but her father was an evil man who really abused her, tortured her, and created actually. She survived that, but she was affected by that, and of course that's one of the internal conflicts that she was always dealing with, and that when her father had abused her the way he did, that she, because of that, she gravitated towards the intimate company of females. I mean, so that was part of the story about her. She needed to have an attitude towards men because she had to stand up towards the villains like Constable Murphy and Chevy Ray, who Chevy Ray, of course, betrayed her, and Constable Murphy totally assaulted her in unthinkable ways. But she had to have a reason to have, in advance of all those events, she had to have a reason for hating narcissistic men, basically. And so that's part of the reason why she was a lesbian. But then again, we ask ourselves, why is she a lesbian? Is that just one of those natural, human phenomena, and or is it because of her life experiences in her earlier days? And of course, she was, and there's hints of this in the book, that she was also she ran away from home at a early teens after being repeatedly raped by her father. Ran away and went to a whole different area of the province, and she was raised in foster homes where she was also sexually assaulted by men. Perhaps not to the full degree, but anyways, that's what she did. So she's always, because Jessy is actually a beautiful lady, and she's very attractive, and men, especially the narcissistic alphas, are they feel that she's theirs, right?
So she finds herself in a love triangle where she has a lover in prison.
Mm-hmm.
She gets out of prison. She finds another target of her affection. And then it turns out that the three of them have a lot more in common.
Yeah, that's right. Lily Wong, who's who ends up being well. First of all, let's go back. During her 10 years of incarceration in prison, for the better part of that, Jessy had a lover in prison by the name of Ruby King, who happened to be a publishing lawyer, and she was in prison because she killed her husband, who happened to be an asshole and a narcissist and a bully, and she electrocuted him in the bathtub while he was jerking off to porn magazines. So that's Ruby's story. And Ruby doesn't really come into it much, except for Ruby plays an important role because Jessy's torn between Lily Wong, who she just met the first day after getting released from prison, and Ruby King, who's still in prison for, say, another year or so, and or no, another few days actually during the time of the story when the actual action starts. And so she's torn between them. But Ruby plays a very minor role, but sort of an important role in showing that, you know, a number of things. First of all, that Jessy does have a heart. She does have a conscience. She is concerned. She doesn't want to hurt people that she loves, and well, that's sort of, you know, that's kind of a good thing to have in a story like this. You know, that our heroine is actually has a heart and a soul, as well as she can be one real mean fucking bitch when she needs to be, right? So,
and then when you talk about her having a heart, you've mentioned it a few times, and we see that with her brothers to a certain extent, at least for one of them, and we'll get into that in a moment.
yeah,
But with Lily, she gets incredibly concerned about her well-being. Again, that maternalistic, almost I wouldn't say materialistic, but almost animalistic in the way that she feels like she needs to protect Lily.
yeah, yeah, yeah. So we had to give Lily Wong a very dynamic personality that Jesse's character couldn't help but be attracted to. I mean, she's out of prison. Just the first day she gets out of prison, leaving her prison lover behind. You can imagine you spend 10 years in prison, you get out all of a sudden one day, and some person comes along, and you feel this we'll call it fatal attraction for, right? So Lily is sort of like Lily, as we find out later in the story. I won't give it up, but Lily is very smart. She's a great actor, and because, you know, she obviously she has and we got to wonder in the beginning of the story, during their first meeting, Lily makes advances on Jessy. Supposedly Lily Wong has never met Jessy before. So why is that? So I think maybe that might create a bit of a red flag for the readers, or at least a heads up, perhaps. I don't know, reading between the lines, I guess. But yeah, she, her and Lily played it well. She let Jessy fall in love with her, and she was the new soulmate. And at the same time, you know, she's thinking about Ruby, but obviously we know that Lily took the well, she took the red pill with with Lily, and so Ruby was just brushed aside until towards the end of the story, and where we find out that actually Lily is had a relationship with Ruby before Ruby went to prison. And so that's the connection there, but we don't find that out until towards the end of the story. So Jessy, she's out of prison, that she's coerced. You know, she doesn't want to go to prison anymore. She's done with crime, but yet Chevy Ray, he has decided he's got other plans for her, and so he has what he's actually done is and he knows Jessy doesn't want to do any more bank burglaries. She's done. She wants to live an honest life. She has a job. She has a little apartment in downtown Vancouver, and everything's beautiful. And she does have intentions of spilling the beans to Ruby about her new relationship, which, you know, she'll do, all things being equal, which all things aren't equal, as we find out. Chevy Ray comes along and he kidnaps Lily and holds her as ransom to force Jessy into doing this bank job. So we got a black screen again. There we go. Oh, no, we don't.
No idea what's going on.
Yeah, I don't know. Yeah, I don't know if that's on my end or your end. I don't know.
I'm not sure.
I turned my
I've never
VPN
seen
off,
this before, but
no, I mean,
we'll make it through.
Oh. Yeah.
Let's switch gears a little bit. Let's get away from Chevy. Let's talk about Jessy and her relationship with her brothers, because it is a very complex relationship. And again, as I talked about a moment ago, maternalistic as well.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So the two brothers, Chester and Lewis, they're physically and mentally difference of night and day. Who knows? Maybe they had different fathers. We don't know that. But anyways, they are different. They worked as a crime trio for several years, up until they got, which is in the prologue of the book. They, showing what they did. They did bank burglaries or jewelry stores and mansions and so on for Chevy Ray, and they were basically contract criminals for his organized crime gang, and so they were doing all that. And then during the prologue, they all get busted, and so what happens was they go to court, and what happens is Chester, the tall, thin one, the youngest brother, he turns on them. He makes a deal with the Crown prosecutors to cooperate with them and give them all the details about previous burglary jobs they did, and testified against Jessy in court. And this contributed towards her sentence of 10 years. Lewis, the only brother that she really has any respect for, and who's actually a good man, he didn't do a turncoat on her. He went with it. He ended up with 7 years in prison. And so Chester was a turncoat, and he was kind of the guy Chester is the kind of guy who knows how to use he knows how to use C4 explosives. He knows how to crack safe combinations. He's the on the ground guy for their burglary operations. Lewis,
and for as much as she didn't want anything to do with him, she needed him.
Exactly. Yeah, they had a very after getting out of prison, of course. Yeah, it was a very toxic family dynamics. I mean, as bad as you can get. She needs Chester. She wants to kill him, and rightfully so, but she needs him to help her do the bank burglary so she can free Lily and pay the ransom and free Lily. So Chester is kind of like, he is the kind of guy who, he doesn't think ahead, doesn't think about the consequences of his actions, and so he does all these stupid things. And one of them, of course, is turning on Jessy. So he's a bit of a coward. He's a bit on the dumb side, but he knows he's really good at his work at handling C4s and breaking into banks. He's the on the ground guy for that. But that's as far as it goes. But she needs him to do this job so she can free Lily, and so she has no choice. So that's another thing that's going against her too. So she's got a lot of shit going on working against her to get through this job, and that's not even with all the other things going on that all go against her. There's a lot of things against her, and all the way from the bad guys and the weather, a huge thunder lightning storm during the bank job and before and after that. So she has a lot going on, but we all know that she would love to kill Chester, and but again, that's tough when you got to work with somebody that you hate and you want to kill, but yet you need them. So you got to be relatively civilized towards them, at least until the job is done.
When you were writing the book, did you ever give any thought to Lewis and Chester not being brothers and maybe just being associates or former friends, former lovers, anything like that?
Yeah, I thought about it. I think it was just because it was just easier to have them as siblings than it was to create more backstory on those two characters. And it also says something about the family dynamics too, in terms of, they're so different, Chester and Lewis, and the father was a bully and a narcissist. He was a tyrant, to say the very least. So, maybe her mother fooled around on him, and who knows, and for good reason too, I'm sure. But yeah, so Chester is definitely, so the brothers, I think they made good brothers, because Lewis is actually, he protects Chester, even though Chester turned on him too. He still has that same sort of empathy as Jessy does, but Chester doesn't have any empathy except for himself. He's one of those that will only think of himself, and perhaps manipulative and so on and so forth to satisfy his
a little
own needs.
Narcissistic like his father.
Yeah. So we'll say that Chester is actually the father's son, and Lewis is somebody else. Because Lewis
I got it.
I mean, Lewis is a great guy, and I had some I put down some names of for Lewis. I had Kevin James, Ricky Gervais, or Wayne Knight from Newman to play. If I was going to do a movie.
Good hat tip to a previous episode. Way to tie them all together.
Yeah.
Jessy's a bit of a badass as well. Even though she does take a tremendous amount of punishment, she dishes it out as well. And the constable certainly gets a little bit of both from that. He takes advantage of Jessy, but also Jessy gets her revenge as well.
Yeah, she does. Yeah, she basically destroys him, but well-deserved destruction, I might add. So Murphy the bad guys will always bring out the worst in Jessy or somebody like Jessy. But is it the worst, or is it just the best? I mean,
or is it just survival?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, she has to survive, and she is a survivor. I mean, what she went through, spending, she was assaulted by Murphy, beat, tortured, left for dead, and she was trapped in his trunk. I mean, of his car. I mean, there's so many things, so many times she could have died, or actually there was another couple of times that she could have been rescued too, but it didn't happen. So she fought hard, and hopefully I've sort of described all that in the story about how she actually did survive and actually get her revenge, and that was plan B, was to fucking kill everybody who fucked with her.
When you were writing the stories, were you drawing on any real life experiences? Was it any true crime that you had read about growing up or maybe recently? Or were you just really just digging deep into the creativity of your mind?
Yeah, I think a little bit of everything, perhaps. I mean, when I was a kid, I mean, because, my Coke bottle glasses and lazy eyes, oh, we got the black screen again. That's strange. Okay.
And it was weird because you said we got the black screen again and everything was working fine on my end, and then it came.
Yeah.
But
so actually, okay.
Now I'll ask you again.
Yeah.
When you were writing the book, were you drawing off of real life experiences? I mean, I know you got the name from Jessy McKenzy from your grade 1 teacher, but were you drawing from real life experiences or maybe true crime in the area or the time, or were you just digging deep into the psyche of Filthy Frank?
Yeah. Well, there's a few elements in that. One is that I had to create an environment for Jessy for her to, so I could bring out her colorful personality. And I think drawing from my own experiences, yeah, big time. I mean, I was a kid with Coke bottle glasses, lazy eyes, and a personality that was uncanny. And so I was an easy target for bullies, and who fucked me over, even throughout life, basically. And it wasn't so much my physical appearance or the hardware on my face. It was my personality, because I got a different fucking personality. I was way beyond being a black sheep in my family. Like, there was, just totally out there, right out of the box. And so some people will embrace a different sort of out of the box personality. That's really not a sheep. And some people will have contempt. And those ones that have contempt have different levels of punishing you for not fitting their own narrative or dialogue, and their beliefs. And so yeah, I was beat up, I was hit, I was insulted, criticized, sometimes by members of my own family. So yeah, I thought up all these revenge scenarios over the years. And actually, to be honest, for a while there, until I got my shit together, I was bullied, and I turned out being a bully too. I had narcissistic attitude towards people, and contempt, and hate, and all those things that go with it. So yeah, I drew on those emotions in creating, for instance, revenge scenes, especially by Jessy when she, towards the end of the story, where there's the big fucking shootout, and the language that goes with it. So a lot of my stuff too is spontaneous. I mean, you can throw a sentence or an idea for a story or anything out at me. We could try that in another episode, and I'll come up with a scenario or a storyline or a short synopsis.
Sounds like a great episode.
Yeah.
Growing up, did you have any friends that you can look back on and say, he or she reminds me of Jessy McKenzy?
Yeah, I did have one lady that I knew for about, I don't know, probably 15, 20 years, just a friend. But she had she had the looks and the personality of Jessy to some degree. Very independent, very outspoken, very believed in themselves, and those are all qualities that I admired. So I put a lot of those qualities into Jessy, because I felt comfortable. It was a comfort zone for me to have a lady who was actually beautiful and smart and had an attitude, and so that all worked for me. It's, again, my comfort zone is creating a space where my imagination can run wild, and all I got to do is fill in the blanks. But yeah, Jessy was modeled after one particular person, and so that was part of the character build, actually, with her. And of course, there's a lot to be said for my wild imagination. That's
combination of the two. We'll finish up with this. Previous episode, we talked about who you would want to play certain characters, and I know you just mentioned a few for Chester, but you had picked Kate Blanchett to play Jessy McKenzy. So here's what we're going to do. We're going to finish this episode look directly into the camera, make your best pitch to Kate Blanchett to take up the mantle in Jessy McKenzy, Lesbian with a Gun?
Wow, you are asking difficult questions so early in the morning.
That's
Okay,
what I do, Kevin. That's
yeah,
what I do.
I know, and that's good. That's perfect, actually. Yeah. So, Kate, you are beautiful, and I have this character that you would fit just. And not only are you beautiful, I'm not talking in the physical sense. I am, but also in the character sense, in the personality sense. You are a beautiful person inside and out. My character, Jessy McKenzy, is a personality who has some issues. She's got an attitude, and I think you would fit the bill perfectly. Jessy can be a bad person or a good person. She's got empathy. She's also sorry about this part, but I know Kate. Maybe Kate, you've been in some movies where you've actually had intimate moments with other women, I believe. So that shouldn't be an issue for you. We have this is a great story. Takes place way back 50 years ago, and the age is about your age. And I would like to see if you would fit in with that role, because I think you'd be great for it. Jessy has she is not a sheep. She goes to great lengths to see that justice is done. She will destroy evil people who fuck with her or anybody else that she cares about, and she does it in such a way. She does it with class. And Kate, you have class. You can do this. I don't know what else I could say to Kate. I mean,
No, I think that's a pretty good pitch. Kate Blanchett, if you're out there, if you're listening, Jessy McKenzy can be yours.
yes,
And it would be a period piece. It would take you to Vancouver in the early 70s. So just imagine the outfits. The costume director alone would have a field day. And we would get a Chevy Nomad out of it someplace.
Oh, totally. Yeah. Yeah. So the cars will be totally good. Like really awesome. For sure.
He's Kevin. I'm Bruce. Kevin, thank you very much.
Okay. Frank, you.
We'll see you next time, everybody.
You got, okay, Bruce.